Hello guys, I am Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com.
And I'm Jack Griffin, and today we have a step-by-step tutorial on how to build your own Raspberry Pi IP camera.
Okay Jack, this is one of the more complicated tutorials that we're going to be doing, and I know that there's some very simple tutorials out there to get the camera working where with a single command you can snap a picture or snap a video. What's going to be different about what you're showing us today?
Well, with this tutorial, we'll be building our own IP camera that we can view from a web browser, and this has many uses.
Okay, so you're going to be streaming live to a web browser. I understand that you have one camera already set up. Can we take a look and see, kind of hopefully give people some motivation to stick with this lesson?
Let's
And so,
make it to where they can see it.
yeah, thank you. I forgot to switch that over there. Okay, so how do we get this to work? Tell me how what we do. This is from a camera. How do you view the stream coming off the camera?
You just go into a web browser and type in the IP address of your Raspberry Pi.
Okay, so you've typed in 10.1.15.114, and that's one of these Raspberry Pi cameras that's in the room, and it's actually live now. I believe I can almost see Austin. Austin, can you scoot over and wave at everyone? Okay, there he is. That's one of our students, Austin Albin, and he is working diligently over there. So that's showing you what this camera can do. You can stream live to a web browser and access it by the IP address, and so that's a pretty exciting capability. I see that this is the Raspberry Pi that we are going to be working on today, that it's down here, and you have the camera set up and you've got the Raspberry Pi set up. Why don't you go ahead and tell us the things that you're sort of assuming that the person needs to know before they start this tutorial. You're sort of assuming that they've already done how much?
We're assuming that you know how to boot your Pi, download noobs, and that you know how to access your Pi from a PuTTY window.
Okay, so you're doing this remotely through PuTTY, SSHN, and you're assuming that they can already log on to the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is booted. What is the equipment? What is the hardware that's going to be needed for this project?
Just a Raspberry Pi, a camera, and a desktop.
Okay, well that sounds pretty straightforward. And because this is going to be one of the more complicated projects, it would probably be good for the people to follow along, not just the video, but to go to the most excellent
TopTechBoy.com.
TopTechBoy.com, and by doing that, we have it up here, www.toptechboy.com. The commands that Jack is going to be inputting, you can just copy and paste, and so you don't have to try to hear him exactly right. You can get the commands that he's using exactly the way that he is using them at our website, and that's pretty important on this project.
Yes, it is.
Does this project need to be done close to what you're doing, or?
Exactly.
Exactly, right. It's got to be exact. So how do they get to this lesson on TopTechBoy.com?
Well, first you go to Raspberry Pi with Linux lessons.
Okay, so we've got a tab up there, Raspberry Pi with Linux, and then we go to which lesson?
Number 38.
We scroll down to lesson number 38. And then we're going to have all the commands here that you need. One of the things that you see, we also have a link where you can get your own Raspberry Pi 3, or there's a nice kit here that we like to use that has everything that you need, including the Raspberry Pi and the camera. So if you need the hardware, you can go ahead and order it from these links here. So are we ready to go?
We are ready to go.
Okay, so we have a window over here, and this is logging into our Raspberry Pi that we've got on the table here. It looks like you've already logged in and are ready to go. And so what are the first steps that you need to do?
Okay, the first thing we want to do is get our Pi up to date. So we can do that simply by typing or copying sudo apt get update.
Okay, so we want to start with a fresh up-to-date Pi. Okay.
Oops, I accidentally did it. What happens sometimes? There we go.
Okay, so about how long does this usually take?
This usually doesn't take any time at all, and we've already got ours updated and upgraded, so it should go by quicker.
Yeah.
for us than it should for you.
And if you haven't updated in a while, it might take 15 minutes or so. And so if it's taking a while, pause the video right now, and then you can rejoin us as your step is done. But this one should not take us very long because we had done this a few minutes ago. So we should be pretty close to up to date, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
How many times have you gone through this process?
I've gone through this process about 10 times.
Why did you go through it so many times?
Because we forgot to back up the card.
That's right. And one of the things you learn about the Raspberry Pi is it's very easy. It is very easy to corrupt this little memory card. And so anytime you add something new and exciting to your Pi, be sure to back it up, because this is a pretty tedious process and you don't want to do this 10 times,
No.
right? Okay, so let's see.
There we go.
All right, so you've done the update. What's the next step?
So now we want to upgrade our card. So sudo apt get upgrade.
Okay, and so that's basically, you've done the 2 commands that are step 1 from toptechboy.com. Man, that was fast for us because we've done that. We are on to step what?
Now we're on to step 2, and we want to go ahead and install Lite-T PD server, web server.
Okay,
And
so you can go there
yes.
and just click on the little box, and it will select the text, and then
Control C,
Control C,
hopefully,
come back to the window.
and that. We got. Sometimes you gotta play with the Control C. So
Yeah, make sure that you get it. Oh man.
try one more time. See
I
if
think
that
you got
works.
it that time. Ah,
Apparently not. We'll just copy it.
okay, just copy it. There you go. I think that's going to work.
There we go. Sometimes it can be a little hard.
Some days it, and then
Yeah.
always look at the end and make sure it
Yes.
got the zip. That's just right. So hit the enter. That looks like it's going to
Okay.
work. Okay. So basically, since you are streaming this to a browser, and you can hit the Y, it's
Yes.
asking, do you want to? Yes. Okay. And so that's going to take a few minutes. And so as this is going, we'll just explain a little bit more that this is going to be streaming to a browser, so you really need a web server up and running on your Pi. And so what
That's
you're doing
right.
now is you're installing the web server.
Yes.
While we're waiting, can I put a hole in your head?
Go ahead.
Ow. Does that hurt?
It does. No, not really.
Not really? Do you want me to make it go away?
Go ahead.
Boom. Okay, that's pretty good. Can I make your whole head disappear?
Sure. Go for it.
Boom. He's invisible. Okay, enough of that nonsense. Okay, how long does it take this step to actually go through?
It usually takes a minute or two to do this step, so I don't think we need to pause the video here.
Okay. So you've been in the engineering program how long here?
I've been in it for, well, I've been in engineering 1 last year, and I'm in engineering 2 this year, and I'm in the afternoon class.
Okay. How many class periods are you in this room a day?
4 counting algebra.
Okay, so you take algebra
That's
in
right.
here, and then you take an engineering class, and then you take the afternoon engineering
That's right.
program. So you've got a very, very high-tech day about
right.
you. And it's a very, very good student. Okay, it looks like that step was done. So that was step 2, correct?
That was step 2. Now we can move on to step 3 and enable the server to process PHP scripts.
Okay, so you're going to get PHP going. So this you probably just want to copy
Okay.
one line at a time, probably,
That's
I would
right.
think. That looks
Just
good.
to be safe.
Yeah,
So copy that,
okay.
enter.
So this is getting the PHP ready.
Yes.
Looked like it like that. Now you're going to do the lightly
Fast.
enable mod
Yes.
CGI.
Mm.
And it's a little tricky to copy. It's like you got to
Yeah,
get it
it's
just
just
right.
can't- There we go.
Okay, but it's still easier than typing.
Yes, it is.
Boom.
There we go.
Okay, and now light PPD enable mod fast
Yes.
CGI.
That's right. And
So these are just things getting PHP working.
that's right. And now we're done with step 3, and we can move on to step 4 and create our own PHP web page.
Okay. At this point, do we have a web server running yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, so we still got to do a few more steps.
Just
Okay.
think the next 2 steps should get your web server running, so that can be done. And this opens a Nano window.
Okay, and Nano is like a text editor
Yes.
on the Raspberry Pi. So if you want to create a file or if you want to edit a file, you use the command Nano. And so what you're saying is Nano, which means create or edit the
Yes.
file, Where is it going to be? It's /var/www/html. That's where it is, the folder. And then the file that you're creating is called what?
It is php.php.
Okay, so this should open up a Nano window,
Yes.
right? Let's do it. Okay, it looks like that. And then how many lines is your Nano window going to have?
Only one.
It's going to have one line.
There we go.
And we got rid of that silly fish, didn't we?
We did.
Okay. So explain real
Yes,
slowly here. Explain that now to save out of the Nano editor. What do you do first?
We want to press Control O and then
at the same time, Control
O,
letter O,
and then we want to press Enter and then Control X.
Okay, so you did Control O. Now you say Enter.
Enter and then Control X.
Control X. Okay.
Okay. Now we want to go ahead and restart the web server.
Okay.
So that can be done right
That's
here.
step 6.
That's right.
Let's hope this works this time.
It did.
Okay, it did.
Okay.
So you restarted the web server. So at this point, should we have a web server running on the
we
Pi?
should go. We can go to our browser window here and type in our IP address, which is 10.1.15.92.
Okay, and you get the splash page for Apache.
That's right.
Okay, now a couple of things that I think are real important. You use your IP address for your Raspberry Pi. You don't use his IP address. Yours are going to be different. How do you know what your IP address is? What's the command that'll give you the IP address in a terminal window?
Well, we type in ifconfig, and our IP address is going to be kind of towards the top here.
Okay,
right
under
there.
iNet address.
iNet address.
Yeah, and so that says 10.1.15.92.
That's right.
When you put that in a browser, you get the splash page for Apache. It's saying, oh, you should put web pages. So you could actually put a website on the Raspberry Pi at this point. Okay.
Let's go ahead and clear that. Make some more room.
Yeah, let's make some more room. Let me show you one other thing. This is the splash page. Come up here and put a slash after that and php.php because we want to make sure that we got PHP going as well. And look at that. So you can see all the information. Scroll down. You can see PHP is running and you've got all the information about PHP. So we have, I feel like we've had a pretty effective 5 or 10 minutes so far. We've installed a web server. We have PHP running on the Raspberry Pi. Okay, let's...
Now we can go ahead and get back to...
Second tab?
Second tab.
Okay.
This one?
No. Yeah, that's good.
There we go. Okay, now we're on to step 7. Or we already did step 7. We're just checking to see if it works.
Okay, and we checked the IP and we checked the PHP. Okay.
Now we want to go ahead and reboot our Raspberry Pi with sudo reboot just to make sure all our changes are saved. So go ahead and reboot the Pi.
Not surprising that we lost connection, right? Okay.
That's good.
And go ahead and you can open up PuTTY. That's a Ugandan prison. If you were wondering what you were looking at there, kind of strange to see a Ugandan prison pop up, but that's what you were doing because we do all kinds of crazy stuff in this class, don't we?
Let's wait for the Pi to reboot.
So we are reconnecting by PuTTY. You would put your IP address here. It's always a question how long we should wait before we try to log on.
All right, I think we're good now.
I think we're good. Boom!
And let's go ahead and resize it.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, get logged on, man.
Pi and Raspberry.
Okay, so that was
clear
that.
Make it prettier.
Okay, and let me roll back up over here. So we just did step 8. We are on to step 9. And tell us what step 9 is going to do.
Okay, on step 9, we want to go ahead and install CRTMP server.
Okay, so a little bit more on the web side of things.
So Control C, hopefully.
Ooh,
that's right.
denied.
Maybe that got it. No? We'll try it 3 times.
Yeah, try it one more time. Hold it real deliberately, okay.
And we'll just copy it.
Yeah, I just copy it the old-fashioned way. You got to make sure that you don't get a bunch more stuff when you copy it. So you got to be kind of precise with the mouse.
There we go.
Okay.
Let me go and install that.
Okay.
And this download can take anywhere from, 1 minute to 3 minutes. So let's go ahead and, maybe not. Maybe it'll read. Go ahead and press Y.
Okay. We try to just not keep
Yes.
pausing, but then we don't want to bore you.
Right.
But we'll probably just let this one try to run. I understand you guys have gotten a lot of attention recently in your program. Maybe you could say a couple of words about that. The work you guys were doing was recently featured where?
On QST magazine.
Okay, that's a national magazine for RF engineering, and you guys were talking about how you're doing Ethernet over the ham band,
right,
which is something that I am not sure that has been done before. So that's pretty impressive, and it was on the cover of QST, and then I understand also this month you were on the cover as well.
Yes, we were.
For high school kids, you are getting some excellent visibility. Okay, what step was that?
Okay, that was step 9, and we want to go ahead and step 10 and back up the CRTMP server file. So
you're going to back it up in case we mess
yes.
things up. We try not to mess things up.
And it looks like that copied. So
okay, so that backed it up.
Okay,
right.
We want to go ahead and move on to step 11, and we want to edit some values in this file to make it viewable.
Okay.
So sudo nano. There we go. Sudo nano /etc/crtmp server.
And this time you're editing a file that's already there, right? Okay.
True.
Okay, so here you don't want to mess with any of this. As you're going down, you want to be real careful not to change any of this until you get down to validate handshake.
Which is right here.
Okay.
And all the stuff we need is just right in this little area.
Okay, so this is in step 11. It shows that validate handshake instead of true should be
false.
And you got to spell it right. False. Okay. Keyframe seek needs to be
false.
Okay, and leave the comma there, right?
Yes.
Seek granularity is
0.1.
0.1.
And client side buffer is 30.
Okay, and don't erase those commas after them, right?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So,
and to save it, we always do Control O, Enter, Control X.
Control O, Enter, Control X. We have just done step 12. Right. Am I wrong?
Okay. That is correct.
Scroll that up so that we try to keep the steps viewable. We're on step 13 now.
And we want to go ahead and restart CRTMP server.
Okay.
That's pretty simple.
That's step 13.
Looks like I didn't get anything. There we go.
Okay, does that look good? Restart?
Looks good. Restart, and it restarted.
Okay. What's step 14?
Step 14, we want to go ahead and remove FFmpeg so we can go ahead and install a new clean version of FFmpeg.
Yeah, because FFmpeg is at the heart of what we're doing. This is what's actually processing the video and doing the streaming, and we don't want any old messed up copies of FFmpeg, so we're going to get FFmpeg off your system with step 14.
And see if that pasted, and it did, so we'll go ahead and remove FFmpeg.
Okay, that shouldn't take too long.
No, it usually doesn't take too long.
Okay, we'll just give that a second. What other interesting video projects have you done? I know this camera, to get it to stream to a browser was a pretty big deal.
Yes.
Any other video projects you've done?
I haven't done any other video projects. We've done the, as a group, we've done the Raspberry Pi project.
You're forgetting one, a very special camera.
Oh, the FLIR.
Yeah, forward-looking infrared radar. He's got a camera that actually sees in the dark, and we'll do another video on that one day. Okay, so what are we going to do now?
Okay, now we want to go ahead and install Gitcore.
Okay, so we're at step 15.
Step 15. So Control C there. And this one is maybe one of the longer updates.
Should we pause and come back?
Never mind.
Ooh.
It already... I think it's actually the next one that actually...
Okay.
It's the clone that takes forever.
Okay. So now you change the directory. So we're on step 15.
Right.
And just you go to the, you got to go to CD.
CD USR.
Yeah.
SRC.
CD/USR/RC. Boom, you got that one?
And then we want to go ahead and make an FFmpeg directory.
Okay, so you got to have a place for FFmpeg to go.
So copy it here. And we have, now that we have that, we want to change the, I guess, that'd be the permissions of
Yeah.
FFmpeg.
You got to let people in that
Right.
folder, so you're going to kind of open that up,
Yes.
right, to users.
Just paste that there,
Okay, FFmpeg, that looks good.
and then enter.
Boom.
And it looks like that worked.
Go ahead and scroll that on up. So you did the
We just did this step right
here.
here.
Yeah, you changed the permissions. Now you're going to do the sudo get clone git. So
Yes.
this one could take a while, I think.
This one takes a while. Oh, did not copy. Okay, that appeared to copy right, so now we want to go ahead and press enter.
Okay.
And yes, this one can take a while, so go ahead and just pause the video.
We'll pause the video. You can pause the video. Go get a cup of coffee. This can take a little time, and then rejoin us where we will be finishing step 15. All right, we're back, Jack. What is next?
Okay, now we just got done with this step right here, sudo git clone.
Step 15, git.
Part of step 15. Now we're going to move on and go ahead and cd into FFmpeg.
So that was the folder you just created?
That is correct. So I'm just going to type it.
Okay.
And then we want to go ahead and configure this folder. And let's go ahead and copy that.
So sudo./configure.
Yes. And don't get discouraged if nothing pops up immediately or even for a while, because it takes a good while for anything to pop up, and then it just all goes real fast. So yeah.
And so this is one that you really got to be patient, because normally you're expecting to see churning through and things happening and everything going around, but this time it just kind of sits and it almost looks like it hangs. But you've just got to be patient, and you've got to not go in and I like to, man, when this is going on, I like to not mess with the keyboard, not mess with the mouse, just sort of leave it alone. Go get a cup of coffee, come back later. So is this one we should probably pause the video on? Okay, we'll be back in just a second. All right, we're back. That was not too painful. That was the finishing of step 15, right?
Yes.
Now comes what?
Step 16.
Is this the dreaded step 16?
This is the dreaded step 16. So I'm going to type it just because I can do it faster. But the first thing we want to type is sudo make.
Sudo space make.
Yes. And then we'll wait for something to pop up. And it'll say like fatal error and give you a bunch of warnings, but just keep going.
Yes. Does the make take that long, or is it the make install that takes?
It's usually the make install that takes long.
Okay, so we'll just
we might already be making. I don't know. Sometimes it's weird.
Okay. But you know, it's just this is a lot of steps, and you got to do them exactly the way we're saying, and you got to not mess with them. So we're going to pause it. We'll come back again later after the make is done. So go ahead.
You know, if it keeps going, just wait until it gets done, and then try sudo make install. But this could take anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. So don't get discouraged.
Okay, so we are doing sudo make and then sudo make install when we come back. So we'll pause and. Okay, Jack, that took a little while. What, about 45 minutes for us?
Yes, that took us about 45 minutes, which is really not bad time for that. So
yeah, we have a really fast Raspberry Pi 3.
We do.
And we have a very fast internet connection. We have done this up to like 3 hours on that step, so just be patient.
So where are we at now? It's the sudo make install?
Yeah, we're finishing 16. We did sudo make.
Yes.
Now we are going to do sudo make install.
Let's see if we can copy that. And I'll just type it.
Yeah, sudo space make space install.
And enter.
All right, so.
And there we go. We're installing it. And I don't think this takes very long at all. It's kind of been a while since we did this. So.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember which steps take the longest. But as long as that last one took, hopefully this one will go. This one will go pretty fast. Okay, let's just go ahead and
pause the video.
We'll come. All right, that was pretty quick. What, just a couple of minutes on that one?
Maybe not even that.
Okay, we probably didn't even need to pause it there. Okay, so now we have FFmpeg working if we've done things right. So what's the next thing we need to do?
The next thing we want to do is install Samba so we can move files from the desktop to the Raspberry Pi and vice versa.
Yeah, so we had some trouble downloading the strobe packages directly to the Raspberry Pi. So we found the easiest thing is to download them to the Windows machine and then copy them over to the Raspberry Pi. And if we put Samba in correctly and configure it correctly, you can see the Raspberry Pi show up on your Windows network, and then you can just drag and drop the files over there. And that's what we found is the easiest to get the strobe player running on the Raspberry Pi. So what do we need to do to get Samba working?
Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is just kind of CD back into, just get out of all this FFmpeg stuff.
Get to the root.
Just get to the root. Yeah. And then we want to go sudo apt-get install Samba and then space Samba dash common bin. So we'll just copy that command right here.
So that's step 17 on toptechboy.com.
And this is really the last download you really have to do on your Pi. So we'll go ahead and do that.
Okay. Is this going to be a long one or is this fairly
No,
quick?
it's fairly short.
Hit the Y when it asks you. Okay. So we see it running through here. Again, it's very nice that we have fast internet here, and we have a fast Pi. So this hopefully won't be too long. So, yeah, I think you were mentioning earlier that you have another video project where you have a forward-looking infrared radar chip, and you configure that with the Pi so that you get live. What would you call it? See in the dark.
Yes.
But it's genuine see in the dark. It's a thermal camera, so you can see things based on their thermal footprint. And that's a pretty exciting project. That's, I'd say, probably quite a bit easier than this one, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
All right.
So let's go ahead and just pause the video real quick.
Okay.
I don't know how much longer.
All right, that took a couple of minutes, and we are still on step 17, or did we?
No,
we
we're
just
on
finished?
we're on step 18 now.
Okay, we finished 17. Let's get on to 18. So
okay, so we want to go ahead and move into the Samba folder to edit a value. So just cd etc/samba.
Okay.
And that is not how you spell Samba.
Spelling is very important.
Yes, it is. Okay, now we want to go ahead and edit the smb.conf file. So I'm just going to type that. Sudo nano smb.conf.
Okay, this is another one we want to be very careful not to mess with this file.
Right.
That we want to just change it. Don't goof it up while you're in there. And also, you got to remember you've got to move up and down with the arrow keys on the keyboard. You can't do it.
Okay.
So you're looking for what part of this file?
We're looking for, I believe it's in the share directories part.
Share definitions.
Share definitions, and it's pretty easy to spot. There it is right there.
Okay, where's share? Okay, yeah, it's
right
share definitions is there. Okay.
And then it's marked by the net login. We're just going to put it right under the net login, so let's go ahead and make a space or two.
Okay, so let's look here. You've got the net login up here. Okay, and it says comment, path, guest, read, stuff like that. And now you're going to put the 6 or 7 commands in the file here.
And I don't know if it'll work if you put it anywhere, but I've always put it here, and it's always worked, so I'm just going to stick with doing that.
So this is step 18. You copy all that. And then when we paste it, we want to stop and look at the screen and make sure you got the end 077 yes, and you started at home with the open bracket yes, because it's easy to not copyright or to chop something, but that looks like you have it in there nice and good. So now how do we save in Nano?
Control letter O, enter, and then Control X, and we should be saved.
Okay.
And then, we kind of showed you what ours looks like here.
Yeah, scroll that on up. So so what's the part that you added?
It was right after the net login.
And so we just show you kind of what our file looks like.
Yes.
Yours should look something like this. And Samba's going to make this Pi available on the Windows network.
And now we can go ahead and check and see if our Pi is available on the network. So we'll go to
the pressure is on here.
Yes, the pressure is on. Let's go ahead and start a new.
So start a folder.
And then go to
network. Okay.
And then
what we should see is we've got a lot of computers on our network here, but we'll give it a chance to get it. But if we're lucky, this is going to show up. The Raspberry Pi is going to show up here with all of these computers that we have, and then we should be able to open it and interact with it with folders and dragging, dropping, and all that.
For some reason, the Raspberry Pi is open last. I don't know why. They're always long.
Also, I wonder with our network and as much stuff as we have
Right.
on it, why it's it might be doing a lot of different stuff. So it takes a second, but we got some stuff
There
come
we go.
in. Let's take a look here. Come on, man.
And there we have it,
Boom!
right here, Raspberry Pi.
Giddy up!
And as you can see, when we click into it, we can get into the home, and then we can get just about anywhere we want.
Yeah, you can navigate through
Yes.
it. Now you're going to be able to drag and drop to
That's
the
right.
Raspberry Pi. So that's useful besides this video
yes, it is.
project, right? Okay.
Alright, so we're just going to go and close that, just making sure. Alright, now we want to go ahead and install the strobe software and web page.
And that's step 19.
That is step 19.
Okay, so strobe is the part that will actually allow us to create that video inside of a web browser.
Alright, so let's go ahead and just copy it here. Control C.
Step 19.
Step 19.
You're copying the change directory into var www.html. So we're going into kind of that home directory for our web server.
Then enter, and we're there. And then we want to make a directory in here called strobe.
Okay, so that's where we're going to put all of our strobe software, right?
That is correct.
Okay, that's pretty easy.
Enter that. And then we want to change the permissions, because even though that we installed Samba, you can't get in and out of a file without changing the permissions of it, especially in the root. So this is a useful command. You can use it on more than just strobe, this chmod.
Yeah, and we're not trying to lock this thing down. We're not trying to be internet security experts here. We're just trying to get it where the video camera works. If you're concerned about security, then you need to talk to people that know more about us. But this is just opening it up so that it's easy to access, and we can put things in it and run things from it.
Okay. And the easiest way for us to get strobe was to go to this website called SourceForge.
Okay, so there's a link here. This is step 19 on toptechboy.com, and you can click on that link and you will go to the strobe SourceForge page. Now, what do we want to download?
We want to download the latest version of it right here.
Okay, so you're going to, can they see that? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're going to download that. Give it a second. Don't click on all this downloading. It's like they try to get you to download other stuff or click on ads or something. Don't do that. Just wait. And now look in the lower left of the browser there. You can see that it's starting to download. And that is what we are going to want.
Yes.
And let me see, while we are waiting on that, we need to drag some of the contents of that out into the desktop. So I'm going to make a little space here.
So we can scoot over.
We will here in a minute, but we'll kind of like try to put it right there between between us. And I think that this is going to just take a second to download.
Yeah, it looks like it's almost done.
And so, and you've got to do this part exactly like we say. So when we say take the contents of the folder, that means what?
That means
the contents of the folder,
and not the folder itself.
Yeah, the contents of the folder is not the folder itself.
We've done that before.
So we're going to start just by dragging and dropping this zip folder down to our Windows desktop. And it's just almost done. There it is. Okay. So now we're going to drag this, and hopefully it'll put it right here between us. Okay. And it did not.
That's the stream.
Where did it go?
There
it is, yeah. Just kind of put it a little high. We'll move the stream out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll move this over. Okay, so that's the zip file. So we're going to open the zip file. And which one of these three things? I see debug build, flash 10, flash 10.1.
Flash player 10.1.
So we're going to grab the folder flash player 10.1 and we're going to drag it to the desktop. And now that's going to unzip it when we put it on the desktop, right? And that takes a second.
And it looks like that's done.
Okay.
So we can go and get out of that.
Let's go there. And do we need to go back to, is this I hit back?
Yeah.
Should that get us
one
back?
more?
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Okay. So now we are on step 19 still. We have downloaded SourceForge.
Yes.
We have taken the folder Fat Flash Player 10.1. We have put it on our desktop. This is the Flash.
That is it.
10.1 unzipped on the desktop.
Okay.
Okay.
So now we want to go ahead and open our file and get into our Pi and move the contents of that folder into the strobe folder.
Okay,
that
so
we were
we
just-
are going to go to our, this is our Windows machine now. We're going to click on Network. We come over here and we find the Raspberry Pi. We open that.
We go to Home.
We go to Home.
We go to var at the very bottom.
We go to var.
We go to www.
We go to www.
HTML.
Right.
And strobe.
There's that strobe folder we made.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is where it's important. We take the contents of the 4-flash player, the contents. I like to do a Control A to get everything.
Control A.
And then drag and drop everything over to that strobe folder on the Pi.
That's right.
Okay.
It looks like that worked, and we can go and close that.
We're going to close that. We are getting very close, aren't we?
We are.
Okay.
All right, now I guess we want to just check over here and make sure that it actually works. So we can, I guess, LS.
Yeah, see where we are.
Or
yeah, just do
CD,
LS. Yeah.
If we actually CD in the strobe, then LS, we can see all the stuff we just.
Okay, so all that stuff moved over.
And then CD dot dot,
Okay,
stack HTML.
Okay.
And then once we're here, we want to create a new file, and we want to name it index. And the reason we name it index is so when we type it in, when we're typing our IP address, if you don't name it index, you have to type a slash after your IP address and then type the name of that file. But it's easier if you use index and you don't have to type anything, just the IP address.
Okay, and before you go on, this is very important because if you don't get this right, it's not going to work. This file that he's fixing the Nano into, this index.html, has to be in the Raspberry Pi root directory /var/www/html, and you can see that hopefully up here.
Yes.
And you can see that. Look right here. We're in /var/www/html. If you do not create and use this file in this folder, it ain't going to work. Okay, so let's move
so
on.
we want to go sudo nano index.html. Let's go ahead and Control C just to be safe. And it's going to be blank because it's not there yet. And then we want to copy this information right here and put it in there. So Control C. Let's see if that got it. And that looks like that got it all. So let's go ahead and save with Control O, Enter, Control X.
I guess you could have typed all that in by hand. But
We could have, but
a little faster this way. Oh my goodness.
And now we want to make sure, you might have already done this, but we want to make sure that our Raspberry Pi camera is turned on because it's.
You got to enable the camera.
So that can be done. It's pretty common with sudo rasp config.
Okay, and that's on step 20 on Top Tech Voice, sudo raspi-config.
I believe it's on interfacing
options.
Camera, and we want to enable it.
Okay.
Would you like to enable the camera interface? Yes. It's successful, and then we want to finish. And it might make you boot, or it might not. It's iffy.
Okay.
Okay, so now we want to start the camera.
Oh man, this is where it really gets
step.
serious. So this is step 21, right?
This is step 21, and we can Control C.
And there's a lot of different parameters on setting this camera up.
CD back there and clear it.
Okay. There's a lot of different parameters. We just sort of set up one that makes a high resolution stream to your browser. You can play with the frame rate, play with all of this stuff, but let's look. It looks like we have a 1080 by 720.
And that actually opens it. That doesn't open it over here. That opens it on your Pi.
Yeah, and that makes like a big high resolution. And then we have the white balance turned up to auto. We have 30 frames per second. We've rotated it 90 degrees. We've done quite a bit with this.
This is the optimal that we use for our space program.
Yes. So and then this what this is doing, this -O is output. Well, where are we sending the output? We're sending it to FFmpeg, which then will get it over to your browser.
All right, so let's go ahead and press enter, and that looks like it worked. And we can go ahead in the camera. Go ahead and click over here. We can see that our camera's on.
Oh yeah, you see the camera came on there when you did that.
And we can
So let's see here.
It's pointed at something interesting.
Okay.
And then we can come over here and type in our IP address, which is 10.1.15.92. And looks like it works. So we can right click.
Yeah, I've got it where you've got to turn the thing on, but yours should just pop up unless you're blocking. Okay, so
and then there we go. We have it working.
Look at that. Okay, Jack. point it
It's
at
a little
yourself
shaky.
and wave at the camera. Okay, turn.
Yeah, sometimes you got to play with it. Oh,
Okay. Okay.
there you go.
So you hold it right there. Hold it still. Put it on you, man. Come on. Okay. Now let's see.
We gave away our green screen.
Ooh, oh man. We're using green screen. Point it at yourself. Okay. And then I'm going to go 1. Where am I?
There you go. There we go.
Okay.
It's a little slow because of Wirecast, but usually
Yeah.
it's snappy.
Yeah, it's about a half second of latency, and so this is really real time. And the way we've done it is better than a lot of them in that it doesn't. And we can even come in and we can make this full screen. Okay, and then we can expand it out full screen. Okay, and so like kind of point it around the room and show some stuff.
Unlimited camera space.
Okay. And so you can sort of see the different things around the room, and so it's really nice. I mean, it's really nice because it's not laggy. It's very snappy. It doesn't start falling behind on things. More Africa pictures. There it is. Okay.
And the only reason that it has a little bit of latency here is because of Wirecast.
Yeah, our streaming,
Yeah.
the video software we're using to make this is slowed it up. But if you're looking at this in real time, you've got just like a half second delay. So, okay, Jack, that is
Like
just really slick. And we will go back over here. And so remember, you can get your gear at toptechboy.com. Go to Raspberry Pi and then go to Lesson 38. And we've got some links where you can buy all the hardware that you need in order to do this for yourself. And I think this has been very successful,
I think
Jack.
so too.
It's a tricky thing, but you've got the video and you've got the website, and if you follow these instructions perfectly, you should be able to get it. Sort of watch things. Make sure that you don't have something abort or something, kind of mess up. You've got to do it exactly. If you do it exactly what we show, you'll have a live stream to a web browser.
And you could use this to make your own IP camera, to make your own security cameras. I've thought about doing that for my own house.
Yeah, and I'd say one thing that Jack and I are we have a box of goodies here. One thing we're really excited about and are going to be moving forward on, this is the Raspberry Pi Zero. And if you look at this, the Raspberry Pi Zero is $5. And so $5 and just a little bit more for the camera, it's like $30-40 you can have a high-resolution security camera.
Right.
And you think put Wi-Fi on this, and man, you could be I shouldn't say hide, but you could be putting these cameras in all types of different
spying
places.
on people. Yeah.
We could probably get ourselves in trouble with this if we're not careful. Okay, again, I am Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com.
And I am Jack Griffin.
And we appreciate your attention. We'll be bringing you some more videos before too much longer. Talk to you guys later.